So for the past week, Sword and Shield booster boxes pretty much across the board have all been surging in price. Sales volume has been extremely high, and pretty much every single day I've been covering the Sword and Shield booster boxes and what's been going on in the market and what's probably going to be happening here in the near future based on supply in the market and also sales volume. So I'm doing the same thing here today, showing you guys there's a few boxes that are going to really jump here if sales volume does continue, and I wanted to cover those, but we're going to start off with Chilling Reign and go up to see what's been going on with these boxes. So first here we have Chilling Reign. So Chilling Reign right now is at $450 a box. You can see if you go to the month chart, the past few days there's been a influx in sales. Specifically this one day, like 30 boxes sold. Since then, sales volume has dipped a little bit. Still, 7 and 5, 5 boxes here. It's still a decent amount. Now at 450. For it to go to $500, there are a few boxes available. There's 6 on this page. You go to the next page, there's 10, 12, 13, and then we hit 500. So there's 13 boxes. If you look at sales volume, it could, it's very volatile. It could take one day, could take multiple days, but there's 13 boxes before this hits 500. After this hits 500, there is a decent amount of supply, but on this next page, it does start moving up here. But we'll see in the next week what really happens. But at 450, there are some boxes before we hit 500. So Chilling Reign has moved up. It just hit 400 not too long ago. Now it's at 450, and we'll see if it continues to go to 500 and push even higher. But right now it's at 450. If you go on eBay, one thing I've noticed is that if you're able to buy from foreign countries, it tends to be cheaper. For example, this one right here, you can see it's from Canada. It's $380. If you look at all the other listings in the United States, they're all going to be around market price, and that's pretty much consistent across the board for all these boxes. Here's another one, Canada. As you can see, it's like $400. So I don't know if there's any problems buying from other countries. If there's really not, that could be an opportunity to buy if you're in the United States, for example, maybe a Canadian listing. If there's no other issues, or I don't know if there's any other fees, but you could get a decent discount. So that could be a possibility. But other than that, all the other boxes are pretty much market price or a little bit more. Now next here, this is one that has been making some moves. Recently I told you guys that I was actually looking for a booster box of Evolving Skies. I didn't end up winning the listing. It went away. I don't really know at this point. If I find another decent one, I'll check it out. But yeah, they're just all selling now at this point, and it's pretty hard to find these for a really under 1500 at this point, because now, as you can see, lowest listed is 1850. Guys, this is gonna hit $2,000 here seemingly very soon. As you can see in the sales volume, they are actually selling for 1800. So this is not just like a listing that hasn't sold yet. They've been selling for 1800. Now when you look at supply for Evolving Skies booster boxes, I mean, at this point, when it's this expensive, you're gonna see some pretty crazy price jumps. But if you go here, you can see we hit 2000, and obviously there's this listing here with 59 boxes, which is a lot, but there's literally 2 boxes before this hits $2,000. So if you want Evolving Skies before it's $2,000, probably would want to buy now. On eBay is definitely the place you can find these for much cheaper than 1800. So that's probably your best bet, or you can look locally. I've always mentioned that with these boxes. Now if you go on eBay, as you can see here, there are boxes under 1800 bucks. You can see there's one right here, 1500. Wrapping looks a little bit loose. There's one here for 1600, 1700, 1600. So you can see you can get them for under 1800. So it is possible, but you do have to make sure that they're sellers that have good ratings and stuff. But yeah, eBay's your probably best bet to get Evolving Skies booster boxes for cheaper than market, because you are able to find them for around 15 to 600 bucks. But a good amount of them are around market price. But just look around, you may find some deals. Now next here, Fusion Strike. Now Fusion Strike has been talked about a lot recently for good reasoning, and it seems like it's going to jump up to 800 here and possibly even 900 very soon. Now when you look at sales volume, still they're selling every single day. It's pretty crazy that Fusion Strike is doing this. Now, like I said, this is going to jump up here to 800 and 900 very soon. Lowest listed right now is this listing right here. There's one available. Next is one available. Then we hit basically 800. So 3 boxes, we hit 800. And look how fast this goes to 900. There's literally one listing between 800 before it goes to 900. There's literally one here. Then it goes to 900. So This is going to move up possibly to $900 here very soon. You look at the sales volume in the past few days. This could take a day, a couple days. It might be at 900 bucks. So Fusion Strike, it might like I remember I said it like maybe about around a week ago that within a year this would be $1,000. Well, it might be a lot sooner, to be honest. I mean, if this hits 900, that would be crazy. And then obviously on this next page, like it hits 1,000. Crazy stuff we're seeing here. I It's hard to imagine Fusion Strike honestly being $1,000, but anything's possible right now. The market is surging, and we might see it, but definitely 800 and 900 we're seeing here based on sales volume. It looks very realistic. Yeah, it's crazy to see that. So this is one that will be moving here even much further, seemingly very soon. Now, if you go on eBay, you will find some boxes here are around it's pretty much this market price at this point. 780, but plus that it's like 800, 800, 900. You will see here, like for example, like I said, any foreign listing, Australia, $700. That's a decent discount. Canada under 800. So yeah, but as you can see, all the other boxes though are pretty much market or above. So if you want a discount, possibly buying from a foreign country could be the move, but just make sure that I don't know if there's any hidden fees or anything, or not hidden fees, but any extra fees that you have to pay buying, internationally. I'm not sure. And just make sure everything's good with that. But they are usually cheaper than the domestic listings if you're in the United States. Now, next here is Brilliant Stars. So Brilliant Stars right now is sitting at around $470. If you look at sales volume, yeah, it's still been high, but just the past day, only one sold. Now, when you actually look at the supply on here, it is going to hit 500 very soon. So on this page, there's 5 boxes here. Then there's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and then we hit 500. So 13 boxes. As you can see here, there are some days where that many sell, but then there's other days that only a few sell. So this market's so volatile. It could take a week, it could take a day, depending on how sales volume really plays out. But there's around, what did I say, like 13 boxes before it hits like 500. So a decent amount, I guess, for a price jump around 20 or around 25, $30. But yeah, Brilliant Stars is almost 500 bucks, which is pretty crazy to see. Now, if you go on eBay for this box, there's really not much under market, as you can see here. There's $500 for 50, which I guess is under market. 460, 500, 450. So there are a few listings, I guess, that are around market or a little bit under. But other than that, just any of these, Sword and Shield boxes, it's pretty hard to find under market. Now, next here, Astral Radiance, it just hit 400 not too long ago. As you can see, there's this one day where sales volume just skyrocketed, and now it's still, selling every single day. And if you look at supply, this is going to hit 500 very soon. If you look here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boxes, and then we hit 500. That could honestly be the day you're watching this when it hits 500 if it continues with the sales volume. So interesting stuff to see Astral Radiance really moving at this rate, being 400 bucks. But honestly, I will still recommend Silver Tempest, in my opinion, over Astral, because Silver Tempest, you'll see lastly here, is not quite as expensive as Astral yet, and I personally think it's a better buy than Astral as of right now. But with this price move that Astral Radiance might see here being 500 bucks, it could be a buy. Now, if you go on eBay, you will find that pretty much all the listings here are pretty much above market. Like I said, it's pretty hard to find boxes that are under market for any of these. So yeah, you can just see there's not many listings, and the ones that are listed, they are above market. Now, if you go see, Lost Origin is probably going to be moving up here as well. So if you see right now, it's at 500 bucks, but if you look at the supply, it quickly jumps up. So there's 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then we basically hit $600. So there's like 10 boxes until we hit that $500 or $600 mark. And if you look at the past sales volume, the past few days, it could be a couple days before this hits 600 bucks. And if you see after that, this could quickly jump up to 700. So all this stuff, if sales volume continues, we could see even bigger price jumps for a lot of these boxes in the next week here. So Lost Origin, same story with all these other boxes. It's really hard to find any of these for under market. On here, they're all like 600 bucks. it's really hard to find any of these. So TCG player for a lot of these boxes is usually the cheapest. But if you can't find any listings on eBay for the same price as TCG player market, I'd rather pick eBay, because if you can see the exact box you're getting, that's definitely a plus. Now, lastly here, like I said, my recommendation, if you're going to pick Astral Radiance, personally, I would pick Silver, because Silver Tempest is cheaper, and I personally think it's a better set. Now, when you look at Silver Tempest, you can see the sales volume has been extremely high in the past few days, because this was at one point only $300, but they all got bought out. Now it's at $350. You can see this will jump here in some time to $400. There's 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15, and then we basically hit $400. So yeah, things after even this $400, they will jump up towards we get here. I don't know how many listings, honestly. I think I've counted enough here, but you can see how quickly stuff starts to jump in this price range. So Silver Tempest out of all these boxes is probably one of the better buys. Evolving Skies, if you can find on eBay for around like 1500 or under, they are seemingly going to hit 2K here very soon. Basically, any of these boxes are pretty good buys. I would say out of all these that are probably not the best ones, in my opinion, probably is Astral Radiance. I don't really like the price point where it's at. I think there's better buys. Brilliant, it's a little bit harder. If you're gonna buy Brilliant, I feel like at that point you might as well just buy Lost Origin if you can. They're both like $500. Fusion, it's very hard to say. It seemingly is performing really strong compared to other boxes, but the price jumps have been huge. It seems like it's gonna be doing another price jump. So hey, you can find any that one listing from Australia. What was it, like $700? If you find any listings like those, maybe it's a possible buy. But buying stuff that expensive when they've moved this much is kind of rough. Now, if you go, lastly here, just showing you guys on eBay, Silver Tempest, you can see it's basically the same thing as all the other ones. You're paying basically market. You can see there's a listing here from Canada, a little bit under market, one here for 320. So I guess this one you are able to find boxes maybe possibly for a little bit under market, but some of these are stock photos, so you'd have to see if they're reputable sellers or not. But yeah, just another overview of Sword and Shield. Pretty much every day I'm doing just documentation on the market, but just based on what I'm seeing here, there's going to be even bigger price jumps. We haven't seen it all. If sales volume continues, at least just for the next few days, a lot of these boxes are going to move even higher. So yeah, pretty interesting stuff for Sword and Shield. Let me know if you guys have been picking anything up in this hectic Sword and Shield market. Things are moving very fast. But I do feel like at some point, I don't know when it's going to be, but this stuff will cool off. And we'll see how much prices dip, if they dip at all, because the price jumps we're seeing with some of these boxes are pretty insane. I mean, Fusion Strike at this point has pretty much like doubled in price in like a week. So we'll see what happens with this market, where this stuff goes. We'll see if it continues for a while. But just the price moves we're seeing here are insanely crazy that I don't know. I feel like in a few weeks, this probably will cool off a little bit and prices might dip, but it may not dip back to where it was, and I don't think that's going to happen. But we'll see what happens with this market. But it's been interesting keeping up with this Sword and Shield market to see what's been going on. So hopefully you guys been enjoying these update videos because I like seeing what's happening in this market. It's interesting when things are going, kind of crazy, because you guys know recently Scarlet and Violet, there's really not been much action or anything really much to talk about. Also, Sword and Shield having some action is kind of fun to talk about. So that's all I want to say here. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.